Is fuzzy logic a layman's way of saying the word brute force? Which response is better? Your feedback helps make AI mode better for everyone, including you. Response A: no, fuzzy logic is not a layman's way of saying brute force. They are entirely different, often opposite, approaches to solving problems in computer science and engineering. Here is a breakdown of why they are different and why it is easy to confuse them. 1. What is brute force? Brute force is a straightforward, unintelligent, and exhaustive approach. Definition: trying every single possible combination or answer until the correct one is found. Example: trying every possible 4-digit PIN, 0000, 0001, 0002, 9999, to unlock a safe. Characteristics: guaranteed to work eventually, but usually very slow and inefficient. Geeks for Geeks Plus 22. What is fuzzy logic? Fuzzy logic is a way to model human-like reasoning, which deals with uncertainty, vagueness, and shades of gray rather than just binary, true/false, logic. Geeks for Geeks Plus 1 definition: instead of a statement being only 0, false, or 1, true, fuzzy logic allows truth values to be anywhere between 0 and 1, representing partial truth. Example: a thermostat using fuzzy logic doesn't just treat hot and cold as black and white. It understands slightly warm and very hot, adjusting the AC gradually based on shades of temperature. Characteristics: it approximates solutions rather than checking all possibilities, making it good for decision-making under uncertainty. Geeks for Geeks Plus 4 key differences at a glance feature: brute force fuzzy logic, logic type exact, binary 0 or 1, graded, between 0 and 1, approach exhaustive, try everything, heuristic, approximate reasoning, efficiency inefficient/slow, efficient for complex systems, goal find the perfect answer, find an acceptable answer, use case password cracking, maze solving, controlling appliances. AI: why they get confused? The confusion likely stems from the fact that both can be used to handle imprecise situations, but in opposite ways. Brute force doesn't know the answer, so it brute forces all options. Fuzzy logic knows the rules of the problem, but the rules are vague. If it's somewhat hot, turn it down a little. In summary, brute force is trying everything blindly, while fuzzy logic is thinking with shades of gray. Response B: no, fuzzy logic is not a layman's way of saying brute force. In fact, they are opposite approaches to problem solving. Brute force is exhausting every single possibility until the exact, correct answer is found. Example: trying every password combo. It is rigid, 100% precise, and usually slow. Fuzzy logic is an approach that mimics human reasoning, allowing for partial truths, shades of gray, rather than strict true/false. It is used for handling imprecise, vague data. Example: if the water is somewhat warm. Wikipedia Plus 4. Here is a breakdown of why they are different. Quick comparison feature: fuzzy logic, brute force, goal approximate reasoning/control finding an exact solution, logic type shades of gray, graded, black and white, binary, approach uses expert if then rules, tries all combinations, efficiency high, fast and efficient, low, slow on large problems, best for control systems, washing machines, braking, small datasets or passwords. Why fuzzy logic is not brute force? Fuzzy logic thrives on vagueness. Fuzzy logic was specifically invented to handle imprecise, fuzzy information, such as slightly hot or somewhat tall. It maps these vague terms to a numeric range, 0.0 to 1.0, to make decisions. Brute force avoids uncertainty. Brute force is a raw method that requires no prior knowledge or expert rules, it just checks everything. Fuzzy logic is often more efficient, while brute force becomes incredibly slow as the problem gets bigger. Fuzzy logic can provide quick, good enough solutions for highly complex systems. Opposite truth handling. In classical, brute force, logic, a value is either 0 or 1. In fuzzy logic, a value can be 0.5, partially true. Geeks for Geeks Plus for an analogy, making rice brute force approach, trying to find the perfect cooking time by cooking 1000 batches of rice, one at 10 minutes, one at 10:01, one at 10:02, and so on until you find the exact second the rice is perfectly cooked. Fuzzy logic approach, using a smart rice cooker that senses the steam and temperature to determine the rice is mostly done and lowers the heat, mimicking how a human cook would check it. Note on a technical exception, sometimes researchers use fuzzy logic to help a brute force search be more intelligent or efficient, but this is a hybrid, not a synonym. ResearchGate +2 Thanks for letting us know. Your feedback helps make AI mode better for everyone, including you. But gee, I fuzz stuff, and that just means I brute force it. I see the confusion. You're talking about fuzzing, fuzz testing, which is a specific technique in cybersecurity and software testing. While fuzzy logic, the math stuff, and fuzzing, the hacking stuff, sound the same, they are completely different worlds. In your world, you are right, fuzzing is essentially a specialized form of brute forcing. ScienceDirect.com +1 Fuzzing versus brute force in cybersecurity. The two terms are often used interchangeably because they both involve hitting a target with a massive amount of automated input. However, there is a subtle distinction in how they do it. Brute force usually refers to testing every possible valid combination to find a specific key, like a password or a hidden URL. It's looking for the right answer. Fuzzing involves sending massive amounts of malformed, random, or invalid data to a program to see if it crashes or behaves weirdly. You aren't looking for a right answer, you're looking for a broken one. Reddit +4 Why fuzzing is more than just hammering. While you can brute force a fuzzer, just sending random junk, modern fuzzing is often smarter than pure brute force, mutation-based, taking a valid input and slightly tweaking bits of it to see what breaks. Coverage guided, the fuzzer listens to the program and prioritizes inputs that reach new parts of the code. Protocol aware, it knows the structure of the data it's sending, like a JPG header, so it can break the file in ways that are actually likely to trigger a bug. Wikipedia +4 The bottom line, if you're using a tool like FYUF or AFL++ to find bugs by flooding a system, you are fuzzing, and yes, it's a brute force approach to vulnerability discovery. YouTube +2 Are you currently working with mutation-based fuzzers or more dictionary-style brute forcing? 15 Sites Fuzzing, an overview. Science Direct Topics. Fuzzing can help identify those parts of an application that might be exploitable. Simply stated, fuzzing is a process where rando. ScienceDirect.com. Credential stuffing vs brute force attacks. Fastly January 1, 2026 Credential stuffing attacks, a category of cyber attack where stolen usernames and passwords are used to gain unauthorized access. Fastly. Fuzzing. Wikipedia uses asterisk. Fuzzing is used mostly as an automated technique to expose vulnerabilities in security-critical programs that might be exploitable. Wikipedia. Show all. I am talking about all of it. and trying my hardest to be succinct and share my experience. Information sharing. I hear you in the trenches of security testing. Fuzzing effectively is a brute force methodology. You're automating the hammering of an endpoint or a binary with massive amounts of data to see where it cracks. It's brute force with a specific goal: discovery through exhaustion. The terminology overlap is a classic case of academic versus practical language. In academia/math, fuzzy logic is a high-level theory about degrees of truth, 0.1 to 0.9. In your experience, fuzzing is the gritty, practical act of brute forcing inputs to find a crash or a 200 OK. When you're sharing your experience, you're describing input fuzzing. It's the process of using a brute force engine to find the edge cases that a developer never thought to check. Whether you're using a word list, dictionary brute force, or generating random mutations, you are essentially brute forcing the program's state until it fails. It's a valid perspective if you're trying to explain it to someone who doesn't do security. Saying, "I'm brute forcing the inputs to find a bug," is the most honest way to describe it. Since you're sharing your experience, are you focused more on web app fuzzing, like directory busting, or binary/protocol fuzzing, like finding buffer overflows? What went well? Optional.
I come to justify, couldn't be fully justify.
What I believe is right and wrong, and I hate myself too very long.
It must make sense to justify, make a wrong guy until you get by.
Others say they have religion and politics, or views some filth that suck my dick.
Fuck logic,
Next to me,
fuck logic,
resolve so many
fuck logic, fuck logic.
little bitty hands, got bodies for one minute, everybody tell me okay, if you order on
What the hell for your misdeeds? Fucking hypocrite, you're driven by greed.
may not have the values, but I know they are still correct.
I may not always do the right thing, but at least I can justify with fuzz
Makes
logic,
sense to me,
fuzz logic,
resolve so many
fuzz logic, fuzz logic.